Good afternoon. This is Stephen Aquario, your Executive Director at the New York State Association of Counties, and I'm very pleased today to introduce Powering New York's Future, a cooperative purchasing for electric vehicle infrastructure. And that word cooperative purchasing is quite important because that purchasing or the procurement that was done for today's presentation on electric vehicle charging infrastructure was done through the National Association of Counties EDGE program, and in particular its Public Promise Procurement Program, which complies with all of New York State's general municipal laws and the opinions of the state comptroller. We have several participants that are with us here today. Let me introduce our participants by name and title, a brief description of our webinar today, and then we'll get right underway and learn more about this important and exciting offering through Broome County, New York. So our first panelist is Carolyn Secor. Carolyn is the president of the New York State Association of Municipal Purchasing Officials, or SAMPO, where she champions professional development, best practices, and collaboration amongst municipal procurement leaders statewide at the town, city, village, school, municipal level, as well as the state of New York and its purchasing agency. So president of SAMPO, but also, and more importantly, is the purchasing agent for the county of Broome in New York in the southern tier, where Carolyn oversees critical procurement functions that ensure the government services run smoothly, including term contracts, commodity acquisition, surplus property management, and of course works with Jason Garner, the Broome County executive, who is very involved with this offering as well. Next, hopefully, we'll hear from Frank Hirta. He's the director of alternative fuels at LilyPad EV. Frank is a top-ranked sales professional with many years of exceeding quotas within the industrial gas industry, electric and gas industry. Very important that we have him and the awardee of Broome County's procurement. And then lastly, we'll hear from Kathy Muse. Kathy is from Fairfax County, Virginia, where she spent many years as the chief procurement officer. She's now working at the National Association of Counties, where she joined NACO's EDGE team to develop procurement solutions for counties, and really which led to this procurement. And we're very grateful to all our participants, and we'll get underway right now. First, a brief description. The New York Association of Counties teamed up with the National Association of Counties, PPP, or Public Promise Procurement Program, to put together a bid which was led by Broome County, New York, that competitively solicited a contract which provides for counties, for the state of New York, local governments, community colleges, a turnkey solution for building out electric vehicle infrastructure, including level 2 and level 3 DC fast charging stations, software, cloud services, installation, importantly, installation. And I remember Kathy and Carolyn working with you all on that very important part and component of installation and commissioning, maintenance, of course, support, training, finance options, and much, much more as part of this procurement. So during today's session, we'll hear from Carolyn Secor, the purchasing agent from Broome County, about the solicitation process and why this contract is and was designed to meet the needs of New York's counties, community colleges, local governments, town, city, village, not just counties. So all our participants today, and we have quite a few on with us today of our members, will learn how to access this new agreement through the NACO PPP platform, leverage it to accelerate your county's electric vehicle initiatives. So let me get right underway. I'll take the first round of questions and then happily introduce Mark Levine, the NYSEC Deputy Director, who will take on some of the other questions. Getting a bit of feedback there. Maybe folks can mute their lines unless they're speaking. Okay, so let's go to Carolyn first. Let me ask a couple of questions to Carolyn Secor. Carolyn, first off, what led Broome County to pursue this cooperative contract for electric vehicle charging equipment?
Well, our county recognized that the transition to electric vehicles is accelerating, no pun intended, and local governments need cost-effective, scalable solutions. With us leading the competitive RFP and partnering with NACO Public Promise Procurement, we were able to ensure that counties and other public agencies in New York and nationwide would be able to access a vetted, competitively awarded single award contract without having to duplicate the procurement process. Guidance from New York State, the comptroller, he requires us to purchase single source awarded only cooperatives. So this is a great benefit to agencies in New York State.
Next.
I notice in other cooperatives or other entities, there is a multiple vendor award, which in New York, of course, as we all know, is not permissible. Very important that you hit on something there, Carolyn, that this is a single award cooperative contract. Did I hear you correctly?
2 slides.
Did I hear that correctly, Carolyn?
Could you repeat that one more time? I had feedback.
Yeah, I'm getting feedback as well, and I do apologize about that. Let me just see if I can move into the second question here. How does the cooperative contract benefit the counties in New York specifically?
Well, we're currently facing ambitious climate and sustainability goals, and EV infrastructure is critical with this. This contract will allow us to purchase charging equipment and pre-negotiated competitive rates, saving not only time for the agencies, but taxpayer dollars as well. We also ensure compliance with New York State procurement rules, since this RFP was conducted competitively and transparently, and as we stated before, was singly awarded.
Thank you. The last question I have, and then I'll turn it over to Mark Levine, to Carolyn Secor from Broome County. What would you say to the folks that are with us here today? What would you say to your peers or your procurement officials in other local governments or community colleges who may have not used a cooperative contract such as the one that you are presenting today? What is your advice to procurement officials who may be hesitant about using a cooperative contract?
I would advise them to look at any and all tools in our toolbox to make our jobs not only easier, but to save our agencies and our taxpayers money. Cooperative purchasing is huge. It's a fantastic tool in our toolbox, and it really does help us all achieve our same end goals efficiently and quickly.
Well, thank you. I want to thank you, Carolyn, first of all, for Broome County taking the lead. This is not just a contract for New York counties. It's not just a contract for Broome County. It is also a contract for the counties across the United States. And that is something that you should take great pride in doing. At Broome County and Jason Garner, the county executive, you have not only helped the taxpayers of Broome County, the taxpayers across New York State, but across the United States. So on behalf of the Association of Counties and all of the counties of New York, I simply want to say thank you for bringing this opportunity to the public. We're very excited to hear more from LilyPad, and we're going to go right to that now. And let me turn it over to the great Mark Levine. And Mark, I'll turn it over to you now to talk with Frank and then talk with Kathy.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, to piggyback off of what Steve just said, we're very excited here at the New York State Association of Counties to be working with NACO's PPP and Broome County and the newly awarded LilyPad EV for the charging station RFP. This first question of mine goes to Frank Huerta. First of all, congratulations on winning the bid in Broome County, Frank. LilyPad EV was selected as the awarded supplier, in this competitive RFP process. Can you tell our audience what sets your company apart in the EV charging space?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. We are very excited to be here today talking with NYSAC and to be awarded this contract. What sets LilyPad apart from the rest of the competition in the EV charging space is that we are truly a one-stop shop. So yes, we are a supplier of EV charging station equipment, as well as network services, but it goes beyond that. We provide installation services for EV charging stations, and perhaps more importantly, we are also a provider of O&M support and warranty break fix support. If you have any experience in the EV charging industry, you'll know that typically warranties are handled by the manufacturers, which provides a gap in the customer service experience. And LilyPad has decided that it was better that we took on that responsibility ourselves, so that throughout the life of the charging station, the customer has one person to contact for any and all things related to their EV charging station. So we really do provide a comprehensive solution for all of our customers.
That's really good information. I've talked to so many people who have EVs, and they call up where all the EV charging stations are, and they go to the one that's closest to them, only to find out that it's out of order. So we're very pleased that you're able to not only install but also fix these EV charging stations that may need some maintenance. My next question for you, Frank, is have you done any projects with New York State counties or in New York? Can you talk a little bit about your experience that our members could appreciate?
Sure. We have experience in New York, absolutely. The specific locations are not on the top of my mind right now, but I believe we have 5 or so projects scattered throughout the state of New York. We have done extensive work with local governments throughout the country as well, and New York being certainly a place where we have experience. Those projects actually were handled by a account manager who's no longer with the company, but by all accounts, it went smoothly. And I couldn't imagine a better tool than this single contract for EV charging stations to make the process of procuring and installing charging stations all that much easier.
Great, thank you, Frank. Some of the counties that I believe you worked in are Otsego County, installing public EV charging stations, and in Delaware County to deploy several level 2 charging stations, and some charging stations in Schoharie County, which is right near where we are here today in Albany County. So Jeanette, can you advance the slides, 2 slides, please? Frank, what advice would you give to a county that's just starting to think about their EV charging infrastructure? And I know many of our counties have been thinking about this for some time, but there are some gaps that need to be filled, or they're just they're on the second part of their development of EV charging infrastructure. So what advice would you give them?
Yeah, thanks for the question. The answer to that question is definitely my favorite part of this contract and what it offers to the counties of New York. When you're thinking about, if you're a county and you're thinking about an EV charging project, or you're thinking about buying EVs and you need the charging stations, it is critical that you start with an equipment solution and a network solution before anything else. The number one pitfall that we see is that a county or a local government will go out to bid for EV charging stations, and they will include the make ready, they will include utility interconnection, and they will include the charging station equipment and network all within one bid. The problem with that is that you're going to get not only a bunch of different responses from people for make ready, construction, utility interconnection, but then you might get like 3 or 4, 5 different charging station equipment bids and different networks, and it gets all very convoluted. By utilizing this contract, what you've done is you've eliminated the need to go out to bid for the charging equipment. You can purchase the charging equipment through this contract and the network services, and then you can design the rest of the project around that. It simplifies it 100-fold, and it makes the rest of the project so much easier. So my advice is that if you're thinking about this, get the conversation started with LilyPad. Let's go over some solutions. We can take a look at what what your capabilities are today. We can take a look at what the capabilities are for what you need for electric vehicle purchases. And then from there, you can formulate the rest of the project around the equipment, around the network solution. You know exactly what you're going to need. And then when you go out to bid, say for construction work, it's very straightforward and very easy and simplified. So hopefully that was clear, but that would be number one advice I could give to anybody is begin the conversation, select the equipment and the network first, and then go on with the rest of your project.
Thank you, Frank. The state of New York is really continuing its push to get more electric vehicles on the road and to expand the EV charging station infrastructure across the state of New York so that people can feel comfortable knowing that they can drive from one end of the state to another and charge their vehicle along the way. So Frank, do you have a team of experts there at LilyPad that can help a county design where the best places are for EV charging stations?
Yeah, sure. Our team comes with combined probably 25, 30 years of experience in EV charging, and the short answer is yes. Whether that's looking and doing some sort of desktop analysis of the site, or actually getting boots on the ground and doing a site walk, performing a load study, not only finding where the most advantageous spaces are for the charging stations, but also what you're working with on site currently from an electrical infrastructure standpoint to figure out what you can put down or what you'll need to supplement for. And we take everything into account, right? So if it's a fleet installation, then we know that things are going to be behind the fence with a little more flexibility. If it's a public installation, we'll know, first thing we got to check for is, what can we do for ADA regulations to make sure that everything is compliant and that permits are issued correctly, and everything in between. So yeah, we definitely have a team of experts here as part of this contract. All future or potential customers will have a dedicated account manager that they can talk to and work through these projects with. And then once we get down the road a little bit, we also have a fully staffed project management team that can assist with the project once it gets off the ground.
Great. I want to remind everybody that's on the call here, we've got a couple of questions that have come in. I've got a couple more questions along the way, but please, if you have a question, now is a great time for you to submit that question into the question panel of your dashboard. Kathy Muse, this question is for you. What should a county do next if they're interested in learning more?
Well, hi. Well, thank you for that question, Mark. And thanks, Frank, for that great explanation of LilyPad's capabilities. I'm super excited about this. Next slide, please. And one more. So what everybody should do next is to go to our website, publicpromiseprocurement.org. We are powered and owned and operated by NACO. And here's where you can find out everything you need to know about this new LilyPad contract. Right down there, you'll see Mr. Aquario, who left us a few minutes ago. And to the right of that photograph, you see two buttons. One says View Contracts and one says Register. If you click on the View Contracts button, next, please. Whoops. Well, anyway, if you click on the register button, let's take that back one step. This is what you'll see, and you will put in the information about your organization, and you can register and become a user of public promise procurement contracts. Next. Okay. Well, I'm missing a slide. Sorry, my fault. There from the landing page, from the page with Mr. Aquario on it, and those two buttons, you'll see one that says View Contracts. If you click on that, you're going to go to a page that lists our contracts. Click on LilyPad EV, and it'll take you right to their landing page where you can see their capabilities, an executive summary of the contract. You can link to all the contract documents, and you can also see the contact information for the folks at LilyPad and also us at Public Promise Procurement. Next slide. And again. Now here is where you have some also those same contact folks. So Frank, Huerta, and myself. I'm from Public Promise Procurement, and you also see on there Anthony Chapman. He's my colleague at Public Promise Procurement with NACO, and he knows everything about this contract as well, and he is poised and ready to work with public agencies to make sure you understand the contract and how to access it, and also to make those links to LilyPad. You can also make that contact directly. And then I think the person on here who knows the very most about this contract and how it can be navigated by New York agencies is Carolyn. So she's there to support us. Please feel free to reach out to her as well.
Great, thank you, Kathy. I'd advise everybody to stay on the line for a few more minutes. We have a couple of questions, and I encourage anybody who's still with us to ask a question in the questions panel. Does the contract with LilyPad include non-networked charging stations? I'm assuming this is for Frank, but it also could be for Carolyn.
I could take this one. At the moment, it does not. Our equipment of choice at the beginning of this contract was ChargePoint charging equipment. They are who are on our contract currently. I have spoken with Carolyn and have raised the question about additional charging stations on the contract to fit specific needs for specific counties. If there is a specific need for non-networked charging stations, we can certainly explore that and go down the path of perhaps adding those. They're in the regular LilyPad portfolio. It's a piece of equipment that we sell. It's just not on this contract currently. So I would encourage you to reach out and begin the conversation, see what your needs are, and if indeed it is a non-network charger, then we could take the steps to get you what you need.
All right, before we move on, there may be some folks on the line here that do know or don't know what a non-network charging station is. So could you explain that, please?
Yeah, most charging stations are networked, which means that they are part of a subscription where it allows the owner, if it's a public charging station, to set pricing or fees for the charging station. Really, what it's used for is to gather data. It's important for all data, but from a fleet perspective, the network will provide all of the driver data, usage data. It allows for the owner to silo the chargers if they need to, and only make them available to a certain subset of drivers. And far too many tools to go over here in one brief rundown. A non-networked charger, on the other hand, is one that is essentially a bypass for energy. It doesn't necessarily require any authorization to start a charge. It doesn't require a form of payment. Essentially, you just take the charging plug off of a holster and plug it into the vehicle, and then it starts charging that vehicle. But these are typically reserved for a fleet application where it's typically a low impact charging situation. It's a car that maybe doesn't drive around all that much, or is not critical to any one business function. But it essentially just allows somebody to come and charge without any prior authorization or payment.
Great, great. And this is for Kathy. Are there costs associated with registering for the public promise procurement or on the website?
Thanks for the question. No, there's no cost to register, and any public agency is eligible to register and use the contract. So any taxpayer funded entity.
Okay, great. Once registered for the PPP or public promise procurement, what are the next steps to start the process with LilyPad EV charging solutions through the Broome County contract?
Either reach out to Anthony Chapman or myself, or to Frank Huerta and the team at LilyPad, and let them know you're interested, and they'll know that it's connected to this contract, and we'll get right back to you and start the process.
Great. Now, I have a question for everybody on the panel here. Looking ahead, how do you see this contract supporting New York counties over the next few years? Carolyn first.
I think this contract will greatly help all of us achieve the goals set to us by New York State. I think it'll help us do it expeditiously and efficiently.
Great. And Frank, how about you?
Sure. There's a couple different ways that I think this will help both in the future. Our charging equipment of choice, being ChargePoint, is it's the largest charging network in America by number of network ports. Why that's important is because they are on virtually every single approved product list. If you're going for any other rebates or any EV charging programs through a utility or otherwise, ChargePoint is virtually guaranteed to be approved by that organization. So that is going to provide a lot of staying power for this contract for the next few years. And also it's a comprehensive offering. And so as your needs grow, this contract will grow with you. If there's a need for a level 3 charging station, if there's a need for overhead pantograph charging station for buses, right? Anything like that, as needs of counties get bigger, this contract will be able to grow with them. If it's just a couple level 2 charging stations, or if it's a big bus depot project or anything in between, the service and level of support that you're going to get from this contract is going to be the same for any one of those.
Great. Kathy Muse, looking ahead, how do you see this contract supporting New York counties and counties across the nation over the next few years?
Well, we are right there beside Carolyn and Frank to support this contract. And our role is to make sure that New York counties know about it. They know that it's available to them. So we'll be meeting with New York counties. We'll be helping them just know that it's there, be aware of it, and also understand the power of the contract. So we'll be a supportive partner and hopefully leading a lot of folks to electrification in their communities.
That's great. Thank you. I want to especially thank Carolyn Secor, the purchasing agent from Broome County, who led this process out of Broome County, Frank Huerta, the Director of Alternative Fuels for LilyPad EV, Kathy Muse, the NACO Public Promise Procurement advisor, and of course, Stephen Aquero, the executive director of the New York State Association of Counties. If you have any additional questions, you can reach out to anybody on this last slide, or you can reach out to Stephen or I here at NYSAC, and we will connect you with the right people who can answer your questions and help support you through this process. I want to thank everybody again for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.